Look, there's no better way to make more money as a DoorDash Dasher or any gig app. The best strategy is to just work more, right? Hey, if I work more, I can make more money. Is that the case? I have one of several stories today. If you work in the gig economy, and my name is Mike, coming to you from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I've done gig work since 2015. Thousands and thousands of trips and transactions across most every single major gig app there is. So yeah, if I just work more, let's say 100 plus 116 hours a week as a DoorDash Dasher, if I do this, if I do that, will it make you more money? You're going to learn that and more in this video. Welcome in. Let me know in the live chat or the comments where you're watching from. Now, if you're a gig worker like myself, don't worry, but there's a lot of good things. But what happens if this happens? Well, I mean, there's nothing worse than what I'm about to show you. All of this is sourced from actual gig workers like you. So there's nothing worse than tip baiting from the customer. Do you know what that is? Do you know what tip baiting is? On platforms like Uber Eats that I'm showing you right here, the customer can adjust the tip after the delivery within a certain time period, usually about an hour on Uber Eats. And if they say, I'm going to pay in total this offer $17.56 from this screenshot, and then it tanks all the way down to $3.44 for 30 minutes of your work. 30 minutes of your time and your work, expecting a healthy $17. You know, I want you to hit $20 to $25 plus, and it tanks to $3.44. And Uber tells you, they'll say, but the customer reduced the tip after the delivery. Have you ever been tip baited? Now, not just once from this particular Uber Eats driver, but twice. And they noted twice from the same address. The other one, $29.61, brought all the way down to $11.32 for 38 minutes of their time, turning a $29 offer for 18.32 miles down to what we call an upside down order. It's less than $1 a mile, now down to $11.32 on that right screenshot that you're seeing there. And it's taking 38 minutes of your time. Have you ever been tip baited? The pay seems good. It ends up really not being good. If you've done gig work or working on these gig apps, I feel like eventually this might happen to you. And I feel like every single gig app, like this video, if you agree, or at least comment, I agree. Every gig app should have tip baiting protection. So if a customer reduces the tip like this, they give no warning, well, I should say no reason why they reduce the tip. If there was any kind of quality issue from you, the worker, things were spilled all over the place. My pizza was upside down. My package delivery was left out in the rain when I clearly have a covered porch. If there's no quality issue, I feel like the gig app should protect you up to at least like $10, because that's what grocery shopping platform Instacart has done. They did that years ago. It was a $10 tip baiting protection. So let me know if you'd like to see that. You know, we have gig workers in here like Ryan that says, yeah, I've been affected. Others in here, Optimistic from North Carolina, Mark in here as well. Thank you for joining, folks. Wouldn't you like tip baiting protection? I would. And I think every gig platform would be wonderful if they had that for the gig worker. Because I'll tell you this, before we move on here, we have several stories to cover today, that if you could have that reassurance, this happens rarely in my experience over about 10 years now. It's more rare. Now, statistically, the more you do, you're going to have this eventually. But if I had the assurance, how about this? Here's a compromise. If a company says, well, it's going to cost us way too much money, we can't predict that. Well, let's do this. Give it one per month for the worker. Allot them one per month. Have one tip baiting protection up to $10 a month. Because, if we go to DoorDash's data, like 85% of Dashers are dashing less than 10 hours a week. And 90+% are dashing less than 5 hours a week. So I think I got that flipped actually. 10 hours, 90, 5 hours, 80 plus. But you get the point. It's a lot. It's the majority of gig workers. So even if the company is like, we don't want to spend too much money on tip baiting protection, you're going to save money. You will save money by not having to spend on marketing, on acquisition, to advertise on social media, what have you, in email, what have you, to get more gig workers because they quit because they're frustrated. Instead, invest one tip baiting protection per month, at least. Frankly, I like a lot more than that. Now, you do have high paying offers though, right? So maybe Uber Eats isn't your thing. You're going to go for Dasher rewards, right? You have high paying offers. So with Dasher rewards, you have to hit certain metrics for acceptance rate, completion rates. It depends. And there's a newer overall Dasher rating program that converts that into points. You don't have to just lean into acceptance rates primarily. There's other things you focus on to get those points. But you get higher paying offers. Now, what happens if you do all that work, as this Dasher says, and they have the audacity to call this high paying? Take a look yourself. If you do all the work to get to Dasher rewards, or let's say preferred deliveries, because Uber Eats does have a version, it's called preferred deliveries, or even the newer overall Dasher rating, right? The point is you have to do more, focused work to hit those metrics. And you get this flag on the offer card that says it's a high paying offer. It's $4.25. It's 1.5 miles. Now, it's quoted in real time to be about 13 minutes or so. I think real world time, let's say maybe 15. Maybe 15. So 15 minutes, you got a quarter of the hour there for about, $4.25. So we're getting what? $16, $17 an hour trending on this offer. When I say trending, that means, hey, if you keep accepting offers similar to this, you're going to trend towards like 17 an hour. If you're getting 15 minutes for like $4.25. But is this a high paying offer? See, the debate here, if you're going to go for Dasher rewards, and we just took a look at a fellow Dasher like yourself, or if you haven't signed up to be a DoorDash Dasher, you should still give it a go. It's a good platform. See if it's for you in your marketplace. It does vary by marketplace. Consider subscribing. We teach you the best practices here. But if I do that work for $4.25, yes, it's good payout per mile. What is good payout per mile? Well, what we teach you here, $1.75 paid out per mile. Minimum acceptable is $1.20. And then ideally, $2 to $3 plus, you're crushing it. So yes, it satisfies the dollars to mile payout. But think about how many offers you can do per hour. 2 to 3 or 4, depends on your marketplace. So if I finish this offer, instantly got another $4.25 for, let's say, 15 minutes, right? Like I told you, it's about $17 an hour trending. So to do all that work, to get your acceptance rate up to, let's say, 50% or 70% for gold. This is tier 2, by the way. This is tier 2. So there's silver at 50. It has some variance based on marketplace. But then tier 2, gold, the second best tier to get priority to high paying offers. It says it right there. And you get offers like this. Margin wise, it's okay. It's margined, but is it worth it? I just need you to answer that question if you're going to go for Dasher rewards, if you're going to go for preferred deliveries. If it's worth it, if you get margin and offer, stay there. Hang out at Platinum, hang out at Gold on either of those platforms. But if not, go back to the margin or cherry picking strategy or the strategy that's working for you and work on your own strategy. So let me know if you're getting value so far. Drop a like on this video. This video is brought to you by ShiftMate. ShiftMate is our brand new gig app for you. You can sign up for free. We also have premium options that unlock graded metrics so you can see exactly what to take action on. You can learn from others. You can earn money as well. Again, that's ShiftMate. Check it out at shiftmateapp.com. And thank you to everyone who has already signed up. But don't worry about gold. It gets better at platinum. All right. Like I told you, there's silver, gold, and then platinum. So at least you can rest on that, right? Well, this Dasher had a shop and deliver. Do you like shop and deliver for $19.50? Well, sweet, Mike. That's awesome cash flow. It is. For $4. Mike, that's a stellar dollars to mile ratio. That's like super, super good. That's what? $3+, $4+ a mile. Sweet. That's very good. Yes. Well, what else should I look at? I mean, look at the map. It's super short. It is. What's unique on shop and deliver? It's the item count. That's the big difference. You actually have to go in there and shop, and then you deliver. There we go. But like Dan noticed, how many items? This has, wait, hold on. Let me come back to you. 111 items. Now there's a difference. Lean into this if you like Shipt, Instacart. I got some of those platforms and my own shifts coming up to test it for you. So make sure to subscribe. Fantastic payout. Fantastic dollars per mile. 50 minutes. Okay, it's 9:36 in the screenshot, upper left. Delivered by 10:26. Okay. 50 minutes, but it's 1950. Okay, I want to make at least 20 an hour, so okay. But is it really going to take you, what? Let's say 45 minutes of shop time and then 5-10 minutes to make the delivery? Because it's pretty short, but do not ignore the shop time. 111 items. Now, pros and cons. Because in my opinion, this is the best place to learn about the gig economy right here on this platform. So if I see 111 items, if I could see the breakdown of items versus units, Shipt and Instacart do that. Looking at this offer screen, if you click that arrow, see that arrow on the right of the screenshot, we can get more information. When I would look at shop and deliver, and I do not like shop and deliver, I go into my Dasher preferences, I turn it off, but if you like it, go for it. I just want to make sure it's making you money. Let's say I want to do shop and deliver. I would look at how many individual items am I shopping for and how many units. Some of us don't want to even touch 111 items. So what I'm saying is, think about what's a small item at the grocery store that you can get a bunch of? I don't know, apples. There's something smaller than that. If it's a super tiny little item, and I'm thinking of a jar of toothpicks, I don't know. Maybe they're doing a catering event or a tailgate party and they need a bunch of toothpicks. It's a little bottle, but they need, let's say, like 50 bottles because they're having the party. Then it might be an easier shop. If, I don't know, think of another smaller item, right? The point is, if it's not a lot of items, but it's just, a lot of units of each item, it might be worth it. It might be easy. But if it's, 100 let's say 100 items, and then it's a few extra units of some of them, it's going to take you a lot longer to shop. Please consider that. Let's move on though. Oh, I forgot. Oh no, I forgot. Oh my gosh. So imagine you do this shop for 111 items. I'm taking all my time in this grocery store. Take a look. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? Look close. Look, I'll help you look closer. Wow. Why? Wow. Because base pay from DoorDash is $17.50. Base pay, that's the company contribution, can be anywhere from as low as $2 to $10 plus. Or like Jose's super chat of 99 cents for $1. Thank you, Jose, for that super sticker. Supporting the channel. Thank you very much for being here. This is maximum base pay. $17.50. Peak pay, that's also company contribution in the form of bonus pay, is an extra $1. And then a customer who is listing 111 items is tipping $1. 4 quarters. Now, hey, tips are not required. We appreciate it. If you're shopping or expect someone to shop for you, the convenience of shopping, checking out for you, packing it for you, and delivering it to your front door, thank you for all 111 items. Here's 4 quarters. Noted. Now, last thing here on the pay. The reason, why is it $17.50? Okay, the max base pay, well, there's no technical max, it's $10 plus, DoorDash says. But why is it so high? This is a high base pay offer because no one else wanted it. You didn't want this when there was like $6 base pay and this was an $8 order for, what was it? 4 miles, right? It's $8, 4 miles, 111 items. Everyone's like, no. So then what DoorDash does is they slowly increase the base pay. Well, sometimes, I don't know, maybe not even slowly. They could increase it to like $10 base pay. Then you're looking at 10 plus $1 peak pay plus $1 tip. So now it's showing as $12 for 4 miles. And still everyone's like, no. Because it's 111 items. So DoorDash, because they're trying to satisfy the customer here, they're like, all right, what's it going to take for someone to accept this offer? $17.50 plus 18. Well, it's going to be $18.50 plus $1 is my point. $18.50 of company contribution, because it's not going to be stipend at all from the customer contribution because it's $1. It happened. This is why we teach you here to accept and decline strategically. And if you're not trying to maximize your pay, if you're just trying to hang out for the day, get some fresh air and go shop for groceries, you could do this for an hour and you'll still get $19.50, but shopping for this is going to be fun. Let's move on though. I want to talk about the big story that I noticed. Look at that. That is not clickbait. This is sourced directly from gig workers like you across Reddit. So yes, we got to take them for their word. We have screenshots. We're going to, again, take these screenshots at their word. Assume someone's not super bored here. But this is possible. This is possible. I'll show you how. This, again, we'll assume is real, but is it worth it? Let's set the stage. You're a DoorDash Dasher. I'm coming to you from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And like a lot of us, you know, you might have a 9-to-5. You might have another just general job, whatever, your own job or what have you. And you do like gig apps on the side. That's even how the companies frame it themselves. They're like, this is best as side income. But what happens if you just go all in? And you don't just go all in, you like go triple all in, driving for 116 hours a week. Who has that kind of stamina? Now, hey, maybe you do have that stamina, like our channel member, 7-Figure Dasher. If you're dashing a ton of hours, let's talk about that. How feasible is it? Money, energy, stamina. And again, is this all worth it? Take a look. This from a Dasher, again, posting, this is some time ago, November, dashing. Now keep in mind, winter seasons are typically the busiest. So if you're gonna think about doing this, just going all in for a week, you could fund a vacation. You could drive for a week or two like this and fund a super nice vacation. Make sure to save 30% for taxes, please, okay? Federal, state, possibly local, self-employment, which is an extra tax that you have to pay as a 1099 independent contractor. This is not what you take home. This is your gross revenue. Please save 30% for taxes. So let's start from the top. $2,289.99. That is kind of astounding. For 82 hours and 15 minutes of active time. Active time is when you're on an assignment from the moment you accept to the moment you deliver. But that bigger number, dash time is just when you're online in general. You hit the go online button, you're dashing, you're online. 116 hours and 43 minutes. That is astounding. Now, how is that even possible? So at least most recently today, when I looked this up, I don't know if anything changed, the maximum consecutive time you can dash is 12 hours at a time. And then you have to take a 6-hour break. So how's this possible? Well, you dash in the morning, you crank out a bunch of hours, you take your mandatory 6-hour break, and then you could technically even dash on other platforms at the time, and then you go again in the evening. 116, 210 completed deliveries. That's in a week. Most dashers who are doing this casually, like I dash after work for a couple of hours. I only have 5 hours a week. You're doing like 200 deliveries in like a quarter or something. You don't have this much time. Of course, there's a bell curve of everything. There's people who dash like once a year, and there's dashers who dash 210 deliveries in a week. Look at the earnings here. Hundreds and hundreds of dollars a week. Okay, I see we're starting to understand some of the numbers here. So let me show you some of the numbers. This equates to $19.61 per hour. This is using dash time, by the way, dash time. Before we move any further, do you know how good your market has to be to average $19 an hour every single day, 7 days a week, over 116 hours. Either peak pay, customer tips. Frankly, it's going to be a combination of both. Good volume. That is astounding. $27.84 per active hour. So that's when they were actually on an assignment. Obviously, that's going to be higher. But then to average almost $11 an offer, averaging almost $11 an offer, that in itself is astounding. I want you to hit an average of like $7 per offer. Why? Because you can, again, going back to the fundamentals, this is why you subscribe. This is what ShiftMate is going to teach you in part. If you haven't already, head over to shiftmateapp.com to reserve your spot before pricing increases at launch in about a month and a half or so is that launch date. But $11 an hour. So if you're doing 7, let's say, you can only complete 2 to 3, maybe 4 if you get 2 stacked offers in an hour. They better be short though. So if I'm averaging $7 per offer, if I'm taking 3 offers, there you go, $21 an hour. And then I want you to actually save your vehicle, maximize your vehicle as much as you can, and not drive a lot of miles for it. Miles take time, or at the very least, miles are money. They're expenses on the vehicle. Like they could be highway faster miles, but it's wearing down the vehicle faster. So we want both. That is why we want high pay per mile and per hour. $327 per day, averaging 16 hours of work a day. And again, 7 figures is following up here that they do not have any limits on the hours worked, only Uber. I think that might vary based on state regulations. I am not sure. That's what our friend GPT said. So, hey, it's always good to double check stuff. So let me know if they limit you. But if not, you can just keep going. So I want to give my thoughts on this. Is this worth it? Listen, 16-hour days is like double the normal workday. Admittedly, it's great pay. It's 19 plus an hour. It is $10 per offer. We don't know the mileage, and I am not quite sure the state. We'd have to check from the original poster on Reddit here. And again, this was in November. We assume 2024 because this was just posted in the last week on the DoorDash driver unofficial subreddit. I gotta give it to them. These are good numbers, but I'll tell you this. As admittedly, as someone who has overworked in the past, to put it lightly, if you want to avoid burnouts, if you want to avoid working yourself to the bone, I can't recommend this. If you're trying to pay off debt, if you're deeply, deeply in the hole looking at bankruptcy, I get it. I don't know the mileage. So if you're in an extreme case, then kudos to you for grinding. But especially, I mean, this is someone full-time. You know, you don't have time to do anything else, basically. They could do other gig works or maybe schedule a couple hours extra. But frankly, this is from like wake up to go to bed kind of thing. 16 hours. I mean, the average wake time for the person, I forget, is like 16 or 18 hours a day anyway. If you're young, if you have the energy and focus to do a 1 week sprint, then you can do that. And again, if you're young, if you want to do maybe a 2-week sprint, I can recommend it, especially for something that is so taxing. And listen, there's possibilities, like Dan said, account sharing. Look, let's address it. Could this be a worker who is sharing their account? Husband and wife team, whatever, roommates, oh yeah, just use my account and go dash. It very well could be. It very well could be. I mean, only one driver account is attached to the taxes officially. So that individual is going to show these earnings on their 1099 NEC. So good luck coordinating that. Oh yeah, by the way, you owe me 30%, or you'd split it, I guess, 15% of the liability of the taxes. It's a huge pain. I mean, get your own account unless you're not authorized to get your own account. It's a whole mess there. And yes, we have a follow-up comment there as well. So it could very well be a shared account. We don't know, but I'll finish that if it's a single driver, that is wild. It is not sustainable. Fantastic numbers, insane numbers, but that's not sustainable. Even if you think it's sustainable for your own health and not burning out, I would say, please no. Please don't try to make that sustainable. So at least you don't have to help your competition though. Let's take a step back. All right. There's a lot of competition out there. You know, other companies trying to get your time. You know, other offers being sent. I mean, there's even competition of other things taking your job away. You know, those darn robots and their AI. At least you don't have to help them. That'd be kind of silly, right? Helping out your own competition? Well, here's what an Uber Eats driver noticed. Let me know in the live chat or the comments. Are you in a city marketplace that has robot deliveries? Here in Pittsburgh, we do not. It's too hilly. Our sidewalks are cracked with potholes on the street. And maybe just not the right demographic to be early adopters of technology. Look at what this driver noticed. They got this assignment on Uber Eats. I assume it's Uber Eats, not just Uber, but you know, it's on the Uber platform. That says sidewalk robot. And it says, use the link in the text message you received to retrieve the order from the Coco robot. And interestingly, DoorDash just partnered with Coco Robotics. And this screenshot is from Uber Eats. So company's doing something right, apparently, to partner with both companies. Imagine that. Getting an offer, and there was follow-up comments that said it was a $5 assignment for at least one person's anecdote, that it was $5 and the robot was like 500 feet away. It wasn't that far away. It was like down the block, right? And you just had to retrieve the order and drop it to the customer. I assume the customer was very close because obviously they're not going to send a little robot to go like more than a mile. It's going to be super short offers. So they picked it up. It was right there and they delivered. And it was basically right there. The thing was just stuck or I don't know, malfunction, what have you. What do you think about this? Helping your competition. We talked about this because both companies have talked about AI, robotics, deliveries. Do you think it's going to scale? I do not. Not in 5 to 10 years. Not taking away 30% of your offers. Too much capital, technology, regulations, feasibility, operational issues. It's going to stop at the bottom of the steep stairs here in Squirrel Hill. And a customer is going to be like, this isn't worth it. I just got to walk down my stairs anyway. I don't like that. Versus like in the rain, versus having a driver just come to my door in the rain. Yeah, I know it's tough work. That's what we got to do. But interesting. They would have you help out a little robot competition. Now, let's kind of round out with this. Now, if you have questions or if you have reactions to any of the stories that we talk about today, keep that for our question and answer session. I want to hear what you're saying, what's working for you, and any reactions to the stories today. If you missed a live, click the bell to be notified. Click all notifications to be notified when I go live. And if you want to watch the replay of any Q&A recently, make sure to click that join button to join as a channel member so you can get access to all of our Q&A replays so you can hear what other gig workers are saying and questions that they are asking. Now, I just saw this new Dasher Pay, so don't leave this video just yet. What niche is doing quite well right now? It seems to be pretty popular. It's getting traction. It is not oversaturated. It's much higher paying on average, albeit one of the companies in the space has just rebranded. Do you know what gig niche I'm talking about? Well, that is catering. And DoorDash has their large order catering program. Grubhub has XL deliveries. Uber Eats has catering. And there's even catering specific gig apps, if you didn't know. Deliver That, Zifty, and Delivered, which just rebranded to Expedite. DLIVRD, Delivered, rebranded to Expedite recently, which frankly is probably a good thing. Delivered, the weird word that you have to spell to basically every customer and driver to get the right spelling. And they are branching beyond catering, basically to become one of the last mile delivery platforms. So they're going to be doing meal kits, retail, e-commerce, and catering. So if you're looking for possibly a new opportunity, that Expedite driver used to be just catering, which I like, which is quite high paying. There might be some more order opportunities coming from Expedite. But here's what DoorDash is doing. So this Dasher noticed some new pay on the large order catering program. Let me know if you've seen this. Well, firstly, let me know if you've ever gotten the large order catering program, because in the past, it was only for Platinum Rewards Dashers. And then Platinum had priority to large order. And actually before either of those, everyone had access to large order. So now it's kind of restricted a little bit. But look at this offer here. I mean, come on, $14.25 guaranteed, includes customer tips, plus $3 setup pay. That's new. Have you ever seen this? Have you received a large order, and have you ever received setup pay? Now, I believe this is separate because, like other catering apps, Zifty, Delivered, or Expedite, and Deliver That, you might have to set up the offer. That's not necessarily a bad thing. Watch the videos that I've done on Deliver That and Zifty. I'll walk you through a catering gig setup process. But the reason I believe it says plus $3 is they need to verify that you're actually setting it up correctly and you actually did it in the first place before they give you the $3 setup pay. So $17.25 for 3.3 miles, quoted to take, what is that, 20 some minutes? That's fantastic. That's pretty good. It's 4 items. I just noticed that. It's 4 items from BJ's. $17.25, 3.3, quoted for 20 some minutes. That's very, very good. Now, don't be intimidated with catering setups. The hardest thing you're going to have to do is actually on the niche specific platform, Zifty, blah, blah, blah. It's the sterno cans. I didn't know how to open a darn sterno. It's pretty common sense. You just pry off the lid, but you kind of literally have to pry it off. It doesn't just like pop. You got to get keys. You got to get something to pry off that sterno. It's a fuel gel can for chafing trays or catering trays. You know, if you've been to a wedding and stuff like that, they have the flame under the chafing tray. So real quick, yeah, set up the wire rack. You set up an empty pan. There's going to be 2 pans. Fill that pan with a couple of inches of water, just regular water. You put the food on top of inside, the next tray on top of that. So there's a buffer of water in between. Then pop that sterno, light it, put the sterno under the chafing tray. So that water, again, it's going to be a little buffer so the bottom of the food doesn't burn. There you go. That's how you set up a chafing tray for catering apps. But that seems quite attractive. Here's what I want to see from DoorDash. Frankly, I love any company that's leaning more into catering. I think all of those companies, I think Grubhub, Uber Eats, DoorDash, Zifty, Deliver That, and Expedite. I think they should all continue to lean into catering. It's the same thing for you. It's the same basic workload. Yes, it's more stuff. Yeah, you need a catering, 2 catering bags for Deliver That. I think Zifty might want 2 as well. But take care of it. You'll have it. It's not gonna break down. Buy good ones, and then you can use that for food delivery as well. But yes, I'll have more stuff. Yes, I might have to set it up. I just explained how to set up the chafing tray. Everything else, just set it up banquet style. Plates, silverware, napkins, and then they're just gonna go down. Salads, fruit, whatever. Entree, finish with desserts. So there's some iterations of that. Have sides in there, have condiments in there. But again, you've been to buffets, you've been to weddings, you've been to places with buffets. You just set it up like that. I like the $3 setup pay. My question, is it always $3? The pay, in my opinion, should go up with more items. So see how that says 4 items? What I would like to see is like, okay, 4 or 5 items and less, $3 setup pay. 6 items to, 8 items, you get whatever it's going to be, $5 extra. And then 8 plus, you get like $7 extra. I don't know, right? It might sound like a lot. Catering is not a lot. The only thing that's going to take a little bit more time is if you have to set up like 4 sterno trays, and like the sterno trays aren't the little ones, because I had like the half portion sizes where each tray only took 1 sterno. So if they're like, here we go. If they're the full size sternos, the ones you have to like carry with both hands versus like the little half size one, and each tray takes 2 sternos, and you have 4 trays, so you have to set up 8 sternos. That's exactly why it should pay more if it's bigger stuff. So here's a nice look. I just pulled this for you. Here's all the catering apps, including DoorDash. So from left to right, that is Delivered or Expedite. That is Deliver That. We have DoorDash, and we have Zifty. Again, Delivered, Expedite, Deliver That, DoorDash, Zifty. So what I would just look at is the pay breakdown. So they'll tell you the subtotal as far as what the customer paid. They will tell you your pay, and they'll tell you the tip and base pay breakdown. Now, DoorDash, you can see in the third spot, it's not showing us the complete breakdown of the subtotal and stuff like that, but still, the main thing that matters is the pay, the mileage, and stuff like that. But if you're gonna go for a complete catering gig, there you go. And I have videos on all of those platforms. So what stood out most to you? Let me take your questions right now. And again, if you missed it, feel free to click that notification bell and just put your question down below in the comments. I want to make sure I get to your questions. And do make sure to reserve your spot on ShiftMate. That is our new app. You can simply sign up for our email newsletter if you'd like. Or right now, you can reserve your spot before the pricing goes up after launch, and you're locked into that pricing so you can get the deeper insights, the graded metrics that I tell you about, dollars to mile, downtime, all of that stuff you want to see. You can earn money as well on there. You can learn from others. You can research and compare other apps. There is nothing like ShiftMate, let me tell you that. And we've put in months and months of work. This is after 10 years working in several different city marketplaces across most every gig app to make this tool for you. That's ShiftMate. So let me know what questions you have and what stories stood out most to you.